Today I'm going to be doing my version of a money protection salt. I did get this idea from Lady Gravedancer, so if you have not checked out her channel, please do. She's a legend in YouTube witchery. So this is just my version of it. I wanted to go ahead and share how I make it. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is cleansing my space. So however you do that, I'm going to be using sage. And I'm just going to cleanse my little altar space here. And I'm going to cleanse the tools that I'm using. So my bowl and my mortar and pestle. Okay, so that just sets our space so it's all nice and neutral and nothing's going to interfere with it. So the first thing that I'm going to start off with is salt, and this is sea salt, but you could use any salt that you feel drawn to. So I'm going to be using about, I don't measure, I just go by whatever feels right. So I'm going to be doing about 4 spoonfuls, and that's the size of my spoon. It's probably about a tablespoon and a half. So 4 spoonfuls of salt. I'm not going to enchant until the end, because I find when I'm filming it's best, it's a lot easier for me just to enchant everything all at once, and then I don't have to keep pausing the video and all of that. So the next thing I'm going to be using is baking soda, and I'm going to be using about 2 spoonfuls of that. And I thought this was a brilliant idea. I did get that from Lady Gravedancer. I had never thought of using baking soda for my magic at all. So we're going to be using the baking soda for cleansing, because we want that cleansing property in the spell work. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to need is I'm going to add some eggshell, because eggshell to me is very protective, and since we want this as a protection for our money, I wanted to add eggshell. There's no real rhyme or reason how much eggshell you add, but I'm going to add that to my mortar and pestle. And then I'm going to grind it up. And as I'm grinding, I'm putting my intention for protection of my money and finances as I'm grinding it. It doesn't have to be real fine, but I find it mixes in a lot better if it's smaller little chunks. Okay, so it looks like that. You can do it more chunky or finer if you want, but that's good enough for me. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is adding some rosemary. And it's just a small little bit. I need to stock up on some more rosemary. I'm almost out. And then I'm going to grind that as well, along with the eggs. And that's okay, so that's what that looks like. The next thing I'm going to be adding is clover. This is clover I've already ground up. It's from my yard. I collect it and then I save it for my magics. And that's just going to be probably about half a spoonful of clover. And can collect clover from anywhere. Parks, if it grows in your yard, you can collect it from, you know, public parks, wherever you can find it. But we have an abundance of it in our yard, so I'm just going to mix that in. The next thing I'm going to be adding is basil. And this is a mixture of store-bought basil and basil from a plant we had. Oh, and the rosemary, clover, and basil, and then the grape leaf that I'm going to be using, they're all for money and finances and, you know, wealth and stuff like that. So I'm going to be grinding that up. And then the last thing I'm going to be using is grape leaf, which is harvested from a plant that we have in our yard. If you don't have grape leaf, you can skip it or add something else. As always, I like to keep I don't like calling them recipes, but my spells that I share with you, I like to, you know, keep them open so you can choose your own things. It's just, I use what I have that is available to me, and it may not be available to you. So you can choose whatever you have on hand for money and protection. So I'm going to grind that up. Oh, it's flying everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to add that to the salt, and I'm just going to mix it around with this spoon that I have. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need some sort of money oil. This is mine that I make myself. I probably will be doing an updated video on my money oil. This one's getting a little old, and I think I need to make a new one, but I'm going to go ahead and use it for this time, and I'm just going to add some oil to it to add that, you know, intention for money and wealth and prosperity, abundance. I think that was probably like 5-dropper fulls. And then I'm going to mix that around. And then the last thing that I'm going to add is some green food coloring. You can skip the food coloring altogether, but it does help me to visualize what it is that I'm trying to go for. So just a few drops just to turn it green. You could add glitter to this if you would like. You could add green sand or black sand. Since this is for money protection, I added green because, green, says money to me. So with the oil and the food coloring, you'll want to lay this out on a cookie sheet just to dry overnight before you bottle it up. That way you don't get any mold or anything in your salt before you can use it. Okay, so the last couple things is you're going to need some coins of whatever your domination is. I have one of each amount in coins. I actually have a gold dollar coin here. These are all for my money altar, and once I'm done with this, I'll probably return it. Even though these are from my savings portion of my money altar, I still like to return it to where I got it. And then these gold ones, I don't, I keep those on my altar, so they need to be returned once I'm finished. So I'm going to add some intention into those before I add them. Okay. And then the last thing that I'm going to add is a magnet. I know this is a huge magnet, but it's the only one I have on hand right now. So I'm going to enchant it, and then I'll be adding that to the jar that I have. Okay. Going to be very careful about putting this in here because it's a huge magnet. So I'm going to enchant the whole thing now. If I was doing this off camera, I would have enchanted in between each individual thing. I feel it adds a lot more of intention doing it that way, but when I'm filming, it's kind of hard to stop the camera every time, so this is how I'm going to do it. And what you're going to enchant for is however you do your magic is fine. The purpose of this spell work is for protection of your money and your finances, your property, stuff like that. Protect your job so you still have money coming in, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to enchant for that. So now I'm just going to add this to my jar here. I will go and lay it out on a cookie sheet when I get back inside. But for now, so it doesn't get dumped or anything, I'm going to add it to the jar. So ways you can use this are any money or prosperity workings. If you're doing candle work, you can add it to the candle, you can add it around the candle. If you have a money altar, you can add this to your money altar, maybe around the perimeter of it. It would be great for sachet workings. Like I said, any type of candle work you may be doing for prosperity. And for myself, I'm going to be adding this to my money altar and my daily or my weekly workings for our prosperity. I normally do candle magic that I do on a weekly basis, you know, to keep our prosperity and our money flowing and coming to us. That in itself can be, you know, making sales in my shop, or my husband keeping his job, and you know, extra money coming to us from, you know, wherever it comes. You know, it'll protect our money from fraud. It will protect money from, you know, things taking our money from us. You know, it will protect our prosperity and our wealth from being stolen from us, or, you know, somehow just disappearing. You know, sometimes it feels like money comes in and it goes out just as fast. So this will help keep the money in your hands and where it needs to be. So that is my version of Lady Gravedancer's money protection salt. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Blessed be.